Hello YouTube. I often bring your attention to developments in China and also its tremendous paranormal history. Well, today I want to tell you about China's expansion into the oceans and the outer space. It's very interesting, and we should pay attention to it. China is a major nation in this world, and it will create history, as it always has done. So let's start with the ocean. About 99% of the ocean floor, which covers more than 70% of the Earth's surface, remains unexplored, and that's according to the U.S. National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Now, China wants to change the situation. China is proposing several marine facilities, including the world's first manned deep sea station, a habitat capable of housing dozens of people for up to a month at a time, at 3 kilometers, or I would say 1.9 miles, beneath the sea surface. China is very much interested in this deep sea exploration. I have mentioned their efforts in my videos about Mariana Trench, and if you have not seen it, please do, because things are happening and we should know about them. I know the news media doesn't cover it, but people interested in such phenomena should pay attention. But much has been taking place in the last few years. Based on my research, I am convinced that China is well aware about USOs, unidentified submersible objects, and the mystery surrounding the trenches around the world. In 2019, Chinese President Xi Jinping urged their scientists and engineers to dare to do something that has never been done before. It is called the Hades Project. The idea of an outpost for deep sea exploration has been a favorite of engineers, scientists, science fiction writers for hundreds of years. And then, of course, there was the Atlantis, the lost civilization, as well as other lost cities under the sea or lakes. And you can see them in my videos as well. China's experience with subsea drones like the Hailong 11,000 will aid the development of this Hades project. The Hades project zone that would be home to the base that China is planning is the deepest part of the ocean, typically a V-shaped abyss at the depth of 6,000 to 11,000 meters, or about 19,600 to 36,100 feet down below. The Manila Trench is a possible location for the Hades project. The Manila Trench is where the southeastern part of Eurasian plate meets the Pacific plate. Its deepest seafloor goes down 5,400 meters. So there will be challenges associated with water pressure at such great depths. The Chinese station will need to be significantly stronger and more compact than an equally costly facility on land. Now, the Manila Trench is also one of the world's biggest quake zones, which is important. So the site of any subsea base needs to meet several very important requirements. It must be sufficiently deep, with abundant geological activities for scientific studies, but not too active, or the base could be destroyed by a volcano eruption and a landslide. We know from reports that Chinese robot submarines will be sent to a survey seabed, record life forms for cataloging, and collect mineral samples. As a self-contained laboratory, the station will analyze those samples and send reports to the surface. The undersea complex will have docking platforms, while the base will depend on cables connected to a ship or platform for power and communication. Its powerful brain and sensors will allow it to carry out autonomous missions. I heard also that it will be manned solely by robots, this undersea station, but this is all up in the air, so to say, or down in the ocean. We just don't know enough. But there may be international issues at play too. The South China Sea, it's known for various claims to the territories there. The Manila Trench also lies close to Scarborough Shoal, where China and Philippines have a standoff of, they had a standoff about two or so years ago. Very, very important. Possible military conflicts. Now, as for the scientific challenges, the deep sea floor is an extreme environment where high pressure, erosion, volatile geology and quakes could threaten any structure on the seabed. The costs of the Hades project could exceed anything planned today. This is an unprecedented project, at least in the history of our recorded civilization. Well, at least, this was, like I said, something similar might have existed before, and according to some ancient legends, there have been cities up in the air or in the sea, if you read ancient writings in Sanskrit and so forth. And I mentioned them in my videos and books, and I urge you to take a look at it. The Chinese might encounter more than USOs down below. They might encounter remnants of advanced civilization that is still active on the surface of our planet, as you can see in my video about the so-called swimmers and Lake Baikal. But it's a very interesting development, and again, we should pay attention to it. But also confirming my conclusion that China is aware of USOs. There is a recent news story that China is developing a satellite with a powerful laser for anti-submarine warfare that the researchers hope will be able to pinpoint a target as far as 500 meters below the surface. Of course, Chinese opponents or adversaries hope that it will not. And I've heard stories to belittle this project, but we will see. Now, in the latest addition to China's expanding deep-sea surveillance program, and aside from targeting submarines, most of by the way, submarines operate at a depth of less than 500 meters. This project could be used to collect data on the world's oceans, and definitely on strange objects that lurk under the surface of the oceans. It's called Project Guanlan, which means watching the big waves. And I apologize to my Chinese-speaking audience if I mispronounce with my Ukrainian Russian accent, but Guanlan is the name that I have. It was officially launched in May at the Pilot National Laboratory for Marine Science and Technology in Qingdao, Shandong province. The goals are to strengthen China's surveillance activities in the world's oceans. Scientists, that's the official statement, scientists are working on the satellite's design and the laboratory, but its key components are being developed by more than 20 research institutes and universities across the country. Song Xia Quan, a researcher involved in the project, he said that if the team can develop the satellite as planned, it will make the upper layer of the sea more or less transparent. Also, at the National Marine Science Lab in Qingdao, researchers are working on an exascale supercomputer called Deep Blue Brain that, when completed in 2020, aims to be the most powerful computer on the planet, our planet, about 1,000 times faster than the fastest computers today. That project also ties in with the laser device. Data collected by the satellite and other assets in China's global ocean surveillance network will be streamed to the supercomputer in the Qingdao for research and analysis. The supercomputer will use large quantities of data along with artificial intelligence to recreate the world's oceans in unprecedented detail in digital form. Very interesting. Something else from China. It's a very interesting research, in my opinion. Chinese scientists from the Tianjin University have developed a method to conceal messages in the sound pulses emitted by sperm whales. The scientists have found means to hide secret messages in the sound pulses that are emitted by sperm whales in order to keep enemy reconnaissance systems from deciphering them. This breakthrough that could help China's military submarines avoid scrutiny is very interesting. Using this technique, whale sounds are edited and a coding system is built around them, and messages are emitted in the form of these edited whale sound bites. They are indistinguishable from regular whale sounds, which are deciphered by the receivers following the code. As a result, the method camouflages undersea signals, making them harder to detect. The scientists studied long fin pilot and sperm whales that use sound waves and echoes to locate and identify objects around them or near them. This is a process known as echolocation. The giant mammals were seen as candidates to help Chinese military submarines avoid scrutiny because they inhabit the world's oceans, and their sounds typically get filtered out when undersea reconnaissance systems sweep an area for submarine signals. This is a very interesting, far-reaching project, so we'll keep an eye on further developments in China. But also, I wanted to let you know that South China Morning Post newspaper has been in touch with the team of researchers headed by Dr. Jiang. He explained that the methods they have that they want to use, they have their own drawbacks. The first one, changing the traits of signals, is based on a process similar to encryption, which makes information harder to decipher by converting data into a code. But the technique tends to alert the enemy because it stands out from natural waveforms. The second approach, sending a weakened signal, is more effective at keeping messages from being detected, but it is hampered when the message has to travel a long distance. Since underwater reconnaissance systems generally filter out ocean noise, such as whale sounds, the Chinese scientists begin to investigate the possibilities of building a system for hiding signals around the camouflage approach, known in the field as steganography, or hiding a file, image, or audio signal within another one. Now, this new technology would make underwater communication more secure, even if the signals were detected by an enemy's reconnaissance systems. It is hard for the enemy to crack the signals, mainly because in steganography, a hidden message looks more like a part of others. The real message may look like noise in sperm whales' sound pulses. So I think this is all that there is available about this project, and we'll see what happens in the future. But now let's look upward about China's special satellites in space. China has become one of few countries that maintain polar and geostationary meteorological satellites operationally. With stable and accurate measurements, the Feng-Yun satellites are becoming an important component of the space-based global observing system. Currently, China has 7 Feng-Yun meteorological satellites that are in operation. They are widely applied in weather analysis, numerical weather forecastings, and climate prediction, as well as environment and disaster monitoring. And I dare say that they're keeping their eyes to UFO presence and are collecting information. Advanced instruments capable of multiple types of measurements have been mounted on the platform of the new generation Feng-Yun satellites, including multi-band optical imaging, atmospheric sounding, microwave imaging, hyperspectral trace gas detection, and full band radiation budget measurement. The new era for comprehensive Earth observations have begun. Obviously, such satellites will register UFOs in the Earth orbit and elsewhere, and this is my addition to the story. So I urge you to keep your eyes on Chinese developments, and I'll bring them. If you can support my research, please do so through the PayPal in the link in the information section for this video. Please subscribe to my channel and tell others. Thank you, and I'll speak again with you soon.